Hello everybody, good evening. This is ECMG. It is Sunday, December 6th, 2020, 8:14 p.m. as of this recording. Hopefully everybody's having a good month so far and that they're doing their best to enjoy the holidays even amidst this lockdown. Pretty much coming at you guys live from the South Bay area of Los Angeles County. So what's up to my fellow South Bay people? Hi, how you doing? Yeah, it's been a while since I posted a video. I think it's been, I think 2 or 3 weeks, which kind of sucks because that, I understand that, it's not necessarily a good thing to like kind of force yourself to push out content. I understand that. But I was honestly in a slump for a little bit, trying to come up with an idea. And then I wrote ideas down in a notebook, but those ideas are going to take time. And when I thought about it, there's something that I kind of wanted to like share, I guess. This is kind of like my hypothesis or it's my opinion on a various topic that I kind of wanted to share with you guys, And also, this is going off the top of the dome. I don't have a script or anything. This is just the thoughts I've been having lately. This is going to get, philosophical, not really going to be touching much on religion or politics. If anything, it's going to be very minimal. I'll try not to use those two subjects for like my examples and stuff like that, but it's going to be like more of a philosophy kind of thing. And, also I just really want to emphasize the fact that this is simply my opinion. I am not trying to pass this, what I'm about to say as fact or anything. I'm not trying to do that at all. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. So I know that lately in like video game and entertainment media, video games, manga, anime, and even like TV shows and movies, you always see like, good versus evil. Good usually being associated with like the light, and the evil being represented by like, darkness or whatnot, or darkness representing evil. A good example of this, I would say, is like Star Wars. You got the Jedi and the Sith, the dark side and the light, the light side of the Force and all that stuff. My honest opinion, good and evil and light and dark, or light and darkness, are two different things. Yeah, they can be together, or they can, light can be associated with good and dark can be associated with evil, but it could also be the other way around. And also, good people, that are born, no one's born good or evil. Goodness, or, the capacity to commit evil is learned as you grow up, as you progress through life. How you do it, it all depends on the individual, what their life situation is, you know what I mean? But yeah, first I'm going to touch on the light and dark and good and evil. So there are quite a few examples, of course. You got Star Wars, you have, various anime. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but, they always want to, let's say, like, for example, like, it's in like anime and also various video games. You're fighting against the forces of darkness, basically, and they're the bad guys and you're the good guys. You're the warriors or the fighters that represent good, the light side. An example would be the original Final Fantasy, for example, the warrior of light and his crew, four adventurers total, basically, going up against, what is that final boss's name? Well, he turns into chaos, but I forgot the name of the knight that transforms into chaos. I think it starts with a G, but I don't know off the top of my head. I apologize for that. But, and I just think it's funny because, like, popular culture has like nailed this into like everybody's head, it seems, that good is, light is good and dark is bad, you know what I mean? But in reality, that's just not the case. There are many examples of the opposite, actually. And one example I would like to bring up And yes, I am going to bring, I guess you could say, maybe politics into this, and even a little bit of religion. Is, you know, think about the politicians, for example. Doesn't matter what side. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat. Doesn't matter if you're Republican. Doesn't matter if you're down the middle. Doesn't matter. They represent the elite, in many people's eyes. We're the common folk. We're the people. Those individuals in like the Senate and the House are the elite. They're out in the open. You know what I mean? They're not hiding in the shadows or anything. I guess you could consider them the light. Because I think the light can also mean that, you're out in the open. Typically, House of Representatives and Senate, they operate during the day, right? Just like, I guess you could say, many government jobs. But anyways, so yeah, they're out in the open. They're passing legislature and, voting on certain things to, be passed into law and things like that. Now, there are many, there are examples in the past and even the present, where the elites don't necessarily have the people's best interests at heart. And this goes for both sides. You know what I mean? I'm not picking a side here. I'm trying to be as like unbiased and as objective as possible with this. So, to me, that's like an example of like the light not necessarily acting good, right? Now, when you think of like the dark or like the shadows, I believe that in many instances, those who are in the shadows, those who are in the shadows or who are in the dark, quote unquote, are capable of performing or of doing the most good for the benefit of many. Think of like special forces, like in any military in any country in the world. You know what I mean? They operate in secret. They're in the shadows. You know what I mean? Think of like the ninja in Japan. Yeah, okay, people, see them as assassins and things like that, but for the most part, ninjas carry out missions to like gather information, important information that can turn the tide of a war, or that can maybe save people. And ninjas were born out of like regular villagers who were fed up with like, I guess, the corruption of the of certain samurai or maybe certain leaders. You know what I mean? They got fed up with it, and then the villagers, the peasants, decided to take up arms, and eventually, I don't know the exact details. I mean, there are plenty of YouTubers that can explain that way better than I can, but I wouldn't, those who are in the dark and the shadows that perform acts for the greater good, I think that is considered good, because sometimes in order to do things for the greater good, sometimes you have to do things on the down low, in the shadows and whatnot, And I also think good and evil are subjective. Because, like I said, you're not born good or evil. You kind of learn as you go along in your life. And also, for example, from people's point of view, a lot of times when you have, like, for example, an opposing country, or even just people in an argument, right? They'll present their point that they believe is good. It's for the good of, like, their family or maybe a group of people or whatnot. And then you have someone else with an opposing viewpoint that views your perspective as evil. Like it's bad. But, in reality, in your mind, you believe that it's for the good of the people. And then the other person can present their perspective, which they believe is good, but you may see it as bad. So I believe it's all subjective. I don't think there is an objective good or an objective evil. I think, there's also like moral ambiguity too, Sometimes you might do something bad, sometimes you do good things, I think we're morally ambiguous quite often throughout our lives as we, as we're born and we grow up and we live out our lives. You know what I mean? So, yeah, one thing also, if we're going to touch on religion a little bit, I'm not too keen or fond of the fact that this current, for example, the Pope has dabbled in politics, or is dabbling in politics, and that's kind of like what the that's one of the things the founding fathers were not really cool with. I mean, separation of church and state was put, in place for a reason. You know what I mean? When the two mix, it's never a good result, regardless of what country or, what religion or philosophy is involved. It's just 9 times out of 10 is never a good thing. So, yeah. So that's kind of just what I had on my mind, what I just think about here and there. And I've been thinking about this for a while. And it's funny because when I was in community college, I wrote a response to a question proposed by my professor in my psychology class, the one psychology class I took, which was, I think, general psychology, something like that. He actually wanted me to elaborate on my answer. He wanted me to present my explanation in front of the class, but unfortunately I didn't. I think I was sick that particular day, so just never got around to doing it. But I mean, back then I think I worded my response better than how I'm doing it right now, because of course I had the chance to write it down on paper and, you know what I mean, like really think about what I'm saying. So but yeah, like I said, I've given this some thought, and yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about that. A good example of dark representing good, if we're talking about video games, is like, I think the current expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn Online, you have the Warriors of Dark, and you're fighting against, forces of light, who I guess started doing bad things, or are considered evil, I guess. So, but yeah, like I said, in terms of like the politician, in terms of politics or whatever, or the military, like, you got a president or prime minister or whatnot, or whatever a particular country calls their leader. They're out in the open, they're out in the light. Of course, they'll typically do their press conferences and talk to the people like during the day, of course, right? And then you have the people who are in, a House of Representatives or a Senate. You got them out in the open, and they have the capacity of doing what people view as good, or people view as evil. It's all subjective. It all depends on the viewpoint of the individual, pretty much. And then even with like the special forces of a particular country, or those who operate in the shadows, / dark, they do things that many would view as like atrocities or just bad things, but they do those things for the greater good. Maybe they're preventing a war from happening, or they're preventing, take a look at, I'm going to use video games as an example again. Look at the Call of Duty series. There was one in particular, I forgot which one. I think it was one of the Modern Warfares where a nuclear weapon was prevented. Like, it was going to hit, I think, the United States or whatnot, and thankfully, like, with your actions as the player, like, you helped stop it. You know what I mean? So, I think it was Modern Warfare 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was. So, yeah, just kind of wanted to get it out there. I'm curious to see what other people think about it, and I'm more than happy to have discussions. You know what I mean? I know I've been away for a while, and I know, like, I'm not like super heavy into, I guess, social media, although I do check it, you know what I mean? And I do try to post as often as I can when I have something that I feel like, I want to post. So, anyways, I am looking at the timer, and I noticed it's about to hit the 15-minute mark. I didn't want the video to be this long, you know what I mean? Especially since I'm just coming back after like 2 or 3 weeks without doing a video. So, with that being said, I'm going to conclude the video. If you guys like this video, of course, give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of my content, hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. As I do have ideas for new video content, but it is going to take me time, because it's going to require, quite a bit of editing, and I'm still learning like how to do like how to work the green screen function. So yeah, hopefully you guys look forward to that, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, the holidays are coming up, which is awesome. You know, the type of work I do get holidays off, so I'm very happy, very thankful for that, because it took me like a decade and a half in order to get to this point. So, you know, I busted my, rear off for that. So anyways, you guys have a good rest of your night, have a good rest of your weekend. Take care, and peace out.